Hey, today we're going to talk about the next patch, which should be arriving tomorrow. We'll also go over a few responses from Arrowhead CEO about AI, Arc Raiders, Malevolent Creek, plus so much more, including an Easter egg in Helldivers 2 that you might have missed. If you can do me a favor, make sure to tap the thumbs up button right away and the hype button below. With that said, let's jump in. Okay, Helldivers, we'll most likely see a new update tomorrow, and you're probably wondering, how do I know there will be one? Well, there are two reasons. One, we already know that Arrowhead's game director answered a question during his interview. He basically said that they're going to update the game roughly every 2 weeks. We've just passed 1 week since the last patch, which was on November 4th, so this means we should expect a brand new patch either tomorrow or next week. It's coming up very soon. Secondly, the developers typically release a patch on Tuesdays. However, they've been known to drop a hotfix if things are game-breaking. I highly suggest keeping your eyes open for the possibility that a new patch will be revealed tomorrow. Also, I'm 90% sure it'll be an update with bug fixes, performance improvements, and possibly quality of life changes, like how they made an adjustment recently to the smoke on muzzles so you can see better when aiming and firing and all that great stuff, right? With that said, I highly doubt we'll see any new content tomorrow, but if it does, I'll for sure be surprised. I'll be sure to keep you updated on any news in the future, so make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so you don't miss out on the latest news. Now moving along, in a previous video I discussed some things I wasn't aware of in Helldivers 2, and today I'd like to bring up more stuff I didn't know about. And if you're like me, you probably haven't noticed the Easter egg on the SOCOM from the Halo ODST Legendary Warbond. Let's go ahead and check it out right now. We can see we've got the SOCOM right here. If you've watched one of my previous videos in the past, it means freedom or liberty. Yet what I didn't see last time was the numbers. I found out recently through a member of my Discord that those numbers, or these numbers, are an Easter egg, which, by the way, you can join the Glitch Unlimited Discord for free by clicking the link in the description. Anyway, you can see the numbers, right? Did you know that these numbers at the end, specifically 09/22/2009, mark the date when Halo ODST launched? Yeah, it's crazy. And I'm surprised I didn't notice it anytime sooner. Now, not only is there that date, but the last set of numbers is also a date as well. 10/10/2552. This right here is awesome because if you're unfamiliar, this is the Battle of October. On October 10th, 2552, UNSC Battle Group Rhino detected 12 huge unidentified ships in Seoul, broadcasting old civilian IFF signals, and as they approached, 11 fled by using unauthorized slip space jumps, leaving one single warship behind. Ultimately, to put it short, the UNSC Totem Lake basically failed and was a lost cause. And there's so much more lore behind this stuff, but yeah, to put it short again, that's pretty much it, right? It's awesome to know that there's this Easter egg essentially that I wasn't aware of. Let me know in the comments below if you knew about this or if you didn't. Alright, continuing on, recently Arrowhead's CEO answered a few questions during an interview conducted by thegamebusiness.com. He spoke on AI and Arc Raiders, and I think you'll find this conversation interesting. During the interview, the interviewer asked Shams what his thoughts were about the recent debate regarding the use of AI in Arc Raiders, specifically the voice lines. Here's what the CEO said in response. This is such a trigger point for big parts of the games industry today. We're waiting for the courts to decide what is fair use and not. And there may be some similarities to the whole "it's so over, we're so back, black and white takes of everything." Now that's intriguing. Does this mean we could see some sort of AI influence in their next game, or possibly in Helldivers 2? Maybe? Based on what he just said, they're trying to figure out everything out court-wise, because I think the last thing Arrowhead needs is a lawsuit over stealing another person's intellectual property rights, right? What I'd like to ask you is, would you be okay if Helldivers 2 or Arrowhead's next game used AI? Would it be a terrible idea? And would you be for it or against it? Drop a response below and tell me what you think. Anyway, Shams continued on to say AI-related debate in the games industry ends up being on both ends of the spectrum. We have developers who feel that their livelihood is completely on. The very fabric of their being is being threatened, and therefore, all AI is bad AI. So quickly, I just want to throw in my 2 cents here, not that it matters, but to be honest with you, if you're a gaming studio and you don't have that many developers or that much money, right, your income is just terrible as a business, then perhaps using AI for voice lines isn't a bad idea, and it can sometimes help, so that you can eventually afford a voice actor, or possibly someone that does art. But hey, again, let me know what you think about this whole AI situation below. Next up, he went on to talk about how basically every major game or big game is using some sort of middleware. Here's what he said. Fair use is fair use, and we need to make sure that we're not stealing people's intellectual property and rights. But beyond that, almost every single game today, a big game, is made using middleware that automates loading and other assets that were used to be made by hand, right? We don't load by hand anymore, but we do pay Simplygon a license to use their software in order to be able to do it. And when that was being rolled out, it wasn't the big outcry about these jobs being lost, and it wasn't happening at the massive scale that we're seeing with AI, but I find that people jump to extreme takes. To be honest, I think if it's like the Call of Duty situation, if you guys don't know, Call of Duty Black Ops 7 just recently basically used AI for their game. Like all the calling cards, essentially, if I'm not mistaken, all of them are basically AI generated. I mean, look at this one right here. I'm sure it looks quite familiar. So if you're doing this type of stuff and you're a large AAA game studio and you have the actual money to pump out and hire people to do it, then you probably should do it instead of using AI. Anywho, we have one more response, and this is what Shams had to say about arc raiders. My thing with arc raiders is I think it's a very interesting use case that actually makes gaming better. Now, let's figure out the right side of it. I don't do voice in games because I'm Swedish. Communicating directly with people I don't know is scary. I don't want to put my voice out there with my accent or whatever it is. I think this allows more people to connect with each other, which is ultimately a good gaming thing. Let's just make sure that people are paid for their work. Like, surely there's a middle ground here. Come on. Then he continued on to say that it could possibly make things easier. For instance, he wrote, "We have a very similar approach. We don't put any AI in the games, but if it can allow me to do my receipts faster, then that's more Helldivers for everyone. Not Helldivers specifically, but you get the point." So again, does this mean we'll see AI in Helldivers 2? Probably not. He's not technically saying, hey, we're going to use AI in Helldivers 2, but he is saying that it can make things easier. And potentially that might be a thing for Helldivers 2. Now, I'm just going to call it now. Let's just mark this video down. They're going to use AI, I'm assuming, and a bunch of people are just going to give them backlash. Whatever the case is, right? If they use it in Helldivers 2 or their next game. But we'll see what happens. Overall, I'd like to know your thoughts about this whole entire conversation in the comments below. Lastly, we've got 2 more conversations here during the interview that I believe is well worth sharing. So the first one is about Sony's multi-platform strategy and how they brought Helldivers 2 to Xbox. Shams said, "Ultimately, it's their strategy. It's their thing. We're just along for the ride and excited to be a part of it. It's always fun to be a part of gaming history." Then he went on to say, "It was a good driver, and it was well received. It's been interesting. We've been so focused on trying to level up quickly and becoming good at the live service stick, which is new for us, that we forgot that we'll have a ton of new players coming in that'll have so much Helldivers to enjoy from the beginning." Yeah, so about live service, right? They absolutely need to get better at it and level up quickly, but they're just not doing it, right? I mean, there's so much potential for Helldivers 2. We absolutely need more progression, more things to do, more things to work towards, and that right there, once they're able to capture that, then Helldivers 2 will get better and better and better and better. It just sucks right now because really there's nothing to work towards, and I think that's the biggest problem with Helldivers 2, besides the bugs, performance issues, and all the other stuff, right? The next conversation is about Malevolent Creek, And all he had to say here is that it has brought so many great memories for us Helldivers, and that when the new players came in, basically Xbox divers, we have the chance to explain to them what happened and how things turned out and all that just amazing stuff. And overall, this interview was amazing. If you want, check out the full interview at thegamebusiness.com. It's well worth checking out. Well, with all the information being said, that's pretty much it, guys, and we're now going to go over the top comments from the previous Helldivers 2 video. The first comment is by Necro Valley that agrees that there should be some sort of voting in-game, and yeah, absolutely. And I like how you pointed out those who find Bernard funny are the Discord users who think random equals funny. I just want to correct myself here. I indeed voted for Bernard, but it was completely random. Like, absolutely. I just saw it and I was like, all right, that's the one I'm going to click. There was no decision behind it. But we're going to get into another conversation about that, because the second comment here is by VA Bloodlust MP that said, I love you, Glitch, but I want to super backhand you for voting Bernard. New York Supreme is too good to pass up. And you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Again, chose it completely out of randomness, and I may have almost affected the future of Helldivers 2. The third and final top comment is by Mr. Eduardo 1994 that said, who would disagree in voting something for the game within the game? A dissonant. That's who. So yeah, those are the top comments. Hope you have enjoyed today's video. As always, if you can, I would appreciate it so much if you give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, turn on notifications, and all that great stuff. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.